Hello and welcome to the Newton's Road webinar on Sneaky Deep Fun with the Rube Goldberg Machines. Newton's Road is a nonprofit working to ensure access to quality STEM learning and career exploration experiences for all youth here in Northwest Michigan. I'm Barb Termott. I'm the Executive Director of Newton's Road, and Annalisa Wiesner, our engineering student intern, is also on the call with me. We're going to start out with what is a Rube Goldberg machine? So a Rube Goldberg is a little bit of a tongue twister, I must add. And it's a machine that was created by Mr. Rube Goldberg. He was an engineer who, after a few years of being a practicing engineer, decided to pursue his first love, which was drawing cartoons. And these cartoons appeared weekly in newspapers all across America. One of his most famous cartoon series combined his engineering mindset, his sense of humor, and his cartoon artistry. It was called The Inventions of Professor Lucifer Gorgonzola Butts, who you see right here in the middle of this cartoon. He was an inventor who designed overly complicated machines to do very simple tasks. In this example, you see the Professor Butts is eating a bowl of soup. The soup spoon is tied to a string that has this whole elaborate machine that includes toast and a bird and a clock and a rocket, etc. And in the end, there's a napkin fluffing at the end of a stick underneath the clock that when he's done with his soup spoon sip, that it will wipe his mustache, his elaborate mustache. You can see a short video on his life on rubegoldberg.com. A fun fact about him is he is the only person in the world whose name is an adjective in the dictionary. When you make your Rube Goldberg machine, it will look a little different than these fanciful cartoons that were not really ever constructed. Here is a Rube Goldberg machine that two kids made that includes different sized water bottles and soda bottles and juice bottles, and some ramps made out of boxes and tubes from toilet paper or paper towels, and a big old box they must have had around the house. And that's the point. These can be made from very simple things that are around your house. But maybe it would be helpful to see one that is actually working.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Barb. So let's watch a short clip of a Rube Goldberg machine that I had fun building. The purpose of my machine is to turn on the light, but there are several steps to turning on the light. So let's watch this short clip. So first, there's a series of 3 ramps for a ball to go down. The ball hits the line of books. And on the last book, there's a string attached. The string goes through a pulley. And the other end of the string is attached to a stop for the ball. So when that book falls down and the stop goes up, the ball will fall into the egg carton. The egg carton tips and presses the switch on the power strip, which hopefully will turn the light on. So let's give it a shot here. And the light goes on.
Thanks, Annalisa. So we're going to look a little bit behind what's going on here and talk about why are we suggesting that you create a Rube Goldberg machine? So engineers ask a lot of questions to help define problems. That's how we even start the design process, is by asking questions about how to solve a problem or an opportunity to do something new. And the other thing about engineering is that machines that you create will fail many times before they work perfectly. And when we say fail, that means it might work part of the way, but not all the way as planned. And that is all about an iterative chain reaction of cause and effect. And a Rube Goldberg machine is made up of many smaller machines that constantly have a cause and effect. And we will talk about that a little bit more. So when your Rube Goldberg machine fails, don't cry, ask why, and come up with ways to fix the problem. And as I mentioned before, in these days, it's important that there's no reason you have to go out and buy anything, because you can find everything you need at home.
Okay, so now you all know what a Rube Goldberg machine is. You know why we suggest you build one. So let's talk for a minute about designing your Rube Goldberg machine. So our design question for you is, how can you design a machine that starts at one place in the room and makes contact with something across the room? So in technical terms, we're thinking about forms of energy. What forms of energy could be used? And how might you generate forces to make the parts of your machine move? So you can think about some of these things. How could you get something from the floor to a table? Could you use a catapult? And a catapult's a good example of a simple machine. We'll talk about simple machines in just a second here. What could you do with a ball or a magnet? So think about some of these things. And two, your design will eventually result in some work being done. For example, turning on the light or filling your coffee cup or whatever that may be. So you get to become the design engineer and think and experiment and figure all that out. So a Rube Goldberg machine is a combination of simple machines. And if you think back to my Rube Goldberg machine video, I used 3 simple machines in my machine. I used the incline plane. All my ramps were incline planes. I used a pulley, which made the block go up when the book fell down. That was my pulley. And I used a lever. This one's a little more tricky, but the switch on the power strip was a lever. So you'll probably find that thinking about simple machines is a useful tool for building your Rube Goldberg machine as well. So how do you start to build a Rube Goldberg machine? There are no rules with Rube Goldberg machines. That's good news. Although your parents may have some, so check with them before you start. But you get to use your imagination and really be creative with Rube Goldberg machines. One thing that you could do is watch some videos of Rube Goldberg machines for inspiration. And at Newton's Road, we love the music video This Too Shall Pass by the band OK Go. They have a really fun music video with a Rube Goldberg machine, and there's a fun surprise at the end. So check out that video, but there are lots and lots of Rube Goldberg machines on YouTube that you can find. Then the way that I started building my Rube Goldberg machine, and you can do this differently, but one idea is to just make a pile of things from around my house. So I picked things that were funny shapes, things that move, like slinkies and balls and magnets, things from the garage, things from the toy room, things from the kitchen. I even put a can of beans in my pile of things to use for my Rube Goldberg machine. So gather some odds and ends And the next thing I did is I made small pieces of my machine first. So I started to fit things together and I made shorter chain reactions. For example, I thought, well, hey, the ball could knock down my book dominoes, but I hadn't yet figured out how the ball would get there, right? So once I had several short chain reactions, then I figured out a good order to make them into a longer chain reaction, which then became my Rube Goldberg machine. One thing engineers do all the time when solving a new problem is to create a sketch of what they plan to build. And this is something that you can do too. So you can include representations of each cause and use arrows to show the desired effect, right? Cause and effect. Engineers make drawings to show other engineers what their idea is, or to show manufacturers how to build their idea physically. And in our case, a drawing can help you explain your machine to someone else. And you could even give your engineering drawing to a parent or a sibling and see if they can put your invention together. So that is exactly what an engineering drawing is for. And we think that we suggest you do a drawing too.
So we are encouraging you to share your machines that you come up with at home by making a simple video of them, just like Annalisa did, and then taking that video file and sharing it on our Facebook page for everyone to see, and they can vote on which ones they like the best. So please consider entering our contest to qualify for one of the 5 prizes for youth in our 5-county region. And I will show you a little bit later on how that looks on Facebook. The Facebook competition is currently going until April 14 when you're scheduled to go back to school. But look for updates from us, because if things change, we'll adapt. This slide is more for your parents or your teachers or whoever you may be working with at home. But it's good for everyone to understand that asking other kinds of questions, reflective questions, about what you're building and about your reaction to it and about your ideas on applying it in other places is really a critical part of the whole learning process. So the cool thing for me, in my mind, about Rube Goldberg machines is that everyone in the family can be involved, because that number one there, experience, is actually doing the activity. So while we're encouraging the whole family, including parents, grandparents, whoever may be in your home right now, to be involved, we also encourage that let the kids take the lead. Then comes the process of reflecting and applying. Reflecting means to share your reactions out loud or in writing, your observations, what you're thinking. You also can look at the process and reflect on, why did that one work? And why did this part not work? And that can help you to figure out what to do next, how to adapt the process, how to change the process to have it work better. And that's that whole thing we talked about at the beginning, with iteratively doing it over and over again until it works. Then we get to the side about applying this to other things that you may see or do in your life. So there might be questions that help to ask, what else works with a pulley? Can you find other things in your house that are simple machines or more complex machines that incorporate this? What about an incline? Does that happen anywhere? The other thing, number 5 there, is to apply what you've learned to a different situation or practice. So maybe now you're going to work on making something for your house with one of your parents. Are you using any of these skills you just learned with a Rube Goldberg machine in order to do that project? Or maybe you just learned this whole idea of never giving up and keep trying, because even if you fail partly or fully, that is just fine, and just keep going and trying again. Maybe what you're applying is resilience. There's a website at the bottom that has many example questions for each of these 5 steps. Some other support that we have at Newton's Road for learning at home is all available from our website. You can get to everything. It's a one-stop shop for all things STEM in our region. So you can get access to our Rube Goldberg contest. We have our searchable database of over 125 organizations and activities in our region. And we now have a new search criteria with an explanation of how to use it right at the top, where you can get all Corona compatible options for our current situation. We also have our Family First magazine column that's offered bi-monthly. And this upcoming April 1 edition, you can get advice from a homeschool mom with many years of experience, and also leverage some other things I've learned along the way, and some great resources from a variety of providers that will help fill your days in a meaningful way while you're learning at home. We also have a newsletter mailing list available, because we are sending regular updates during this time, in addition to our regular monthly issue, to get the latest ideas or to give updates on the contest and things like that. So we highly recommend you get on the mailing list so you get that latest information. So now we're going to take a quick look at our website. And you can see that actually it kind of timed out on me, but we have this alert and announcement where you can get to all 4 of those things I just mentioned to you right from our homepage. And when you're finding that STEM to do, that's where you get to our searchable database. You come here, you click Corona compatible activities and update the search, and the response will give you all kinds of things that you can do during this time. When this period is over and you're back to your regular routine, you can use any of these other search criteria to find things that are nearby, that are free, for instance, or that are outdoors or by grade level, and you can find the things that are best fit for what you want to do at that time. Now I'm going to take you over to our Facebook, and here you can see I set up a post where it says enter your post here. I typed in Annalisa's RGM. I'm from Antrim County. You could tell us a little bit about your machine if you want to, but then you click the video, photo video link, and you can update with the link your video with your video file. And that's how you enter the contest. Okay. So hopefully we've anticipated any questions you might have, and you are ready to go. But if there are questions that you have, you can reach us with contactus@newtonsroad.org. You can send a contact us right here on our website. You see it at the top bar down here in this picture. And you can also ask a question on our Facebook event page for the contest, or you can just email me, barbt@newtonsroad.org. So we hope you have a ton of fun making your Rube Goldberg machines. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.